Welcome back to Grid Drop. Today we're doing yet another randomly generated F123 challenge. It's going to be against 0% AI, and these wheels here are going to decide what exactly our challenge is going to be. So firstly, it's going to choose our car, then our track, our race strategy, and finally our starting position. So first things first, we're going to let the wheel decide our car and team. These are all on realistic performance, so if we do get stuck with one of the backmarker cars, one of the slower teams, we're going to be feeling that performance in the race, and it looks like we're going to get stuck with the AlphaTauri, arguably the worst car in the grid. Here we are for the track. We have China, Bahrain, Australia, the Red Bull Ring, Spa, Monaco, Canada, and Qatar. I've never raced around Qatar, so I'm really hoping that it's not Qatar, and we do get Australia, which is good. That's a pretty solid track for me. Next up, we have our race strategy. So we have using all three dry compound tires, pitting every lap, starting a lap down, inters for the whole race, and stopping for 10 seconds at the end of every lap. Some of these definitely seem a little bit easier than others. And we get all three tire compounds. So it's only a 5-lap race, so we'll have to pit 3 times and use all tires. Next up is our grid position. Obviously, there's one slot for pole position. Hopefully we can get pole. That would make this a lot easier. And it looks like we're going to get pole. And last second, we are P20. So that's it. Our race has been decided. We are going to be using the AlphaTauri, driving in Australia. Our race strategy is to use all 3 tire compounds. And we're starting at the very back of the grid as Nick DeVries. Alright, here we are on the grid racing as Nick DeVries, the ex-F1 driver in his AlphaTauri. The 5 red lights are on, and we are racing in Australia. Pretty good reaction time, and definitely some good traction as well. It looks like we can definitely go for a move against this Haas, getting really, really close to the wall right there. The Haas kind of pinched us a little bit too close for comfort. Alongside Lance Stroll now, 3 wide into turn 1, already up into 8th position. We're definitely going to get some much better traction than this Ferrari and this McLaren on corner exit, and that means we're already in 6th position now. So a lot of cars off the start, passing Sergio Perez right now alongside at the apex, and 5th position is already on the books. Behind Max Verstappen now, it looks like we're going to swing around the outside, getting a little bit hung up by Fernando Alonso. Don't really know exactly where to pass him. Looks like now is going to be the opportunity, taking to the grass, up the inside now into this right-hander, and already into the podium places behind both the Mercedes cars now. And unfortunately, we're not really as quick as them in a straight line. We do have a higher downforce setup, so that's definitely going to hinder our performance on the straights. But the places you make up the most time compared to 0% AI is in the braking zones, as you can see right there. So up in the 2nd place now, George Russell is the last one. A big kick of oversteer on corner exit right there, and it looks like we're going up the inside and already into the lead of the race. So definitely nice to at least pass everyone by the time the first lap is over. So a little overview of our strategy right now. So obviously we're going to have to use all 3 tire compounds this race. I think the best way to go about this is obviously minimizing the time on the slowest tire, which is the hard compound tire. So the first 2 laps we're going to be on the soft, so you can see setting the medium compound tires right now. So hitting this lap, and we're going to be on the medium compound tires for 2 more laps. Obviously the mediums are a little bit faster, so hopefully that should help us go for a win this time around. But the hard tires are going to be a little bit cold on that final lap, so hopefully that's not an issue. That's one of the only things I'm really slightly concerned with, is that the hard compound tires are going to be a little bit cold, and hopefully it doesn't take too long to either catch up to the rest of the field or overtake. The second thing I'm a little concerned about is our downforce on our setup. So as you can see in that little battle, or I guess it wasn't really a battle, but following Lewis Hamilton on this straight, we were in the slipstream using the battery, and we were still falling behind. So the AI are a little bit quicker on the straight just due to my high downforce setup. So those are the only 2 issues I'm really thinking about during this race. Otherwise, I think we should be pretty good and at least on for a podium. My goal is to win, and a podium is decent, but if we don't get a podium, I'll be pretty disappointed. But 2 purple sectors now on the soft compound tires. This is our final stint on the soft compound tires. And if you look at the top left, we do have a 10-second gap to George Russell in 2nd place. So I'm not exactly sure how long the pit lane takes in this on this track. I assume 10 seconds is a pretty good gap to be pitting. We're not going to be coming out in 1st place, but we should be somewhat in somewhat decent running order. But onto the medium compound tires, and the AlphaTauri pit crew does a pretty good job. No issues with the pit stop. Here's Sergio Perez's point of view. That's us exiting the pit lane on the right-hand side. I believe we should be emerging in around P5, P6, P7, somewhere around there. It depends how the rest of the order looks. And we're in P6, so not too bad. Definitely are going to be able to make up some positions. Just as I say that, up the inside of the Red Bull driver, and now around the outside, the long way around of Fernando Alonso. Up next is Max Verstappen. Hopefully he doesn't really block us into this section of the track like Fernando did on lap 1. It looks like we're going to go for a move right here, up the inside, taking to the grass yet again, and we're past the Red Bull driver. Up next is Lewis Hamilton, the Mercedes. Make very, very quick work of him. And now finally, back in second place, George Russell is the last guy we got to catch on this lap. You can see, this is what I was talking about earlier, our high downforce setup. We have DRS, and we're not really making any progress behind George Russell on the straight. Luckily, in the braking zone, we're much quicker. So, passing the Mercedes driver into P1 on lap 3 of the 5-lap race. So, first lap on the medium compound tires, they're definitely performing pretty well. They're not really too much slower than the guys on softs. But we'll have to see how the rest of this lap and next lap go. I'm hoping we can pull like a 12-second gap to the car in second place. You know, obviously if these cars behind start fighting or something, that's going to really give us a huge advantage if they're going side by side through corners or just slowing each other down at all. That's going to really, really help us out. But still making sure I'm driving very cautiously. I'm not setting the fastest lap time I possibly could. I'm driving as consistently and cautiously as I possibly can, just to make sure I'm not going to skid off the track and lock up, catch myself in the gravel or hit a wall or anything like that, because if I do end up getting front wing damage, that's going to make this a whole lot harder. And also, if I make a mistake like locking up, sliding off the track, that's going to really kill my time, and a win is pretty much off the table. So I'd rather be fighting for P2 or P3 out of the pit lane on the last lap than make a huge mistake and have the race be pretty much over. But on our final lap on the mediums, on the straight right now, definitely this is where we lose time. I can almost feel how slow it is. I know that sounds kind of stupid to say. It looks like we're going pretty quickly, but I could kind of feel it compared to the other cars, or at least compared to the soft compound tires. So hopefully not losing too much time right here. We're going to check out the gaps in a second here on the top left, and definitely not as much as I want. We're going to make up more time in the braking zones right here, but we need to be shooting for probably around a 12, maybe even 13-second gap if we want to re-emerge in the podium position. So we'll see how much time we make up in these couple braking zones before the pit lane, and I don't think it's going to be enough. It's looking like right around 10 seconds, so that should put us in about P5 or P6 again. But obviously we're going to have to see once we re-emerge from the pit lane. Speaking of that, into the pit lane we go, onto our third and final set of tires, and also onto the final lap of the race. Onto the hards, and hopefully this is enough to catch up to first place yet again. We do have the slowest car and the slowest tires compared to you know, much faster teams on faster tires, so hopefully we have enough to get back into first. Unfortunately, re-emerging in P7, not really ideal. One place down from where we re-emerged last time around, but we'll definitely make up a lot of time into this braking zone. I'm braking at the 100-meter mark. These guys are probably braking at like 150 or 160, so you can see how much time we made up going up the inside of Carlos Sainz right there. Now behind Sergio Perez, going to go up the inside of the Red Bull driver and really, really risking it for that overtake right there. This is where we're going to get much riskier and kind of throw caution to the wind. Looking for an avenue around Fernando Alonso, yet again taking to the grass to overtake the Aston Martin driver, and sort of a big gap to the top three ahead. Verstappen and both the Mercedes are kind of pulling away on this straight. We're not really that fast on the straight. This is definitely the weakness of this car so far this race, but making up a lot of time in the braking zone. You can see how much time we make up through that quick left and right hander. DRS is going to be open now. It looks like Verstappen's going to go for a move against Lewis Hamilton. He's switching to the outside, but we're going to switch to the inside. Late braking against the 0% AI, and into second place we go. But unfortunately, only a couple corners left for the rest of this race. Looking towards the outside of George Russell, he squeezes us out. That's not going to work. Switching to the inside at the last second, up the inside now, still side by side through these corners with George Russell. He's going to have the inside for the next corner, and luckily we have the traction to outmuscle the Mercedes. So that is going to be a first place finish for Nick de Vries. Alright, that's going to do it. If you do have your own challenge videos, please let me know in the comments. I'll definitely be interested in checking those out. I'm always looking for more stuff to make. So if you have your own ideas, please let me know either in the comments, or you can leave those in my Discord, which is linked in the description. If you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. The support lately has been really cool to see, so definitely glad I finally got a little bit of an audience. But if you made it this far, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.